Thank you for listening to the Midwest Horse Fair Outside the Arena podcast, where we share wonderful real-life stories and expert advice from the equine clinicians and entertainers from around the country who have been a part of the largest 3-day horse fair in the USA. Our first series will include several interviews conducted during the 2024 fair. This is Kelly Kinney, the Midwest Horse Fair Coliseum announcer, and we hope you'll all stick around and learn more about the fascinating lives of these experts outside the arena.
Welcome to the Midwest Horse Fair podcast. We are joined here today with Dr. Karin Bump. We'd just like you to go ahead and start by explaining a little bit of your background and introducing yourself.
Good morning. Thank you. This is really exciting to be here at the Midwest Horse Fair. I am an educator by training, but very much the heart of my work is connecting people, helping people, and particularly when it comes to education opportunities in the equine industry and career opportunities in the industry. I'm really committed to helping people find, explore, and that's kind of what we do here.
So just to start off, can you please explain what exactly a change agent is?
Sure. Well, that's a very academic kind of thing, isn't it? Change agent. Maybe I should change that. I no longer live in the world of academia. But basically, I really enjoy fixing things. But that doesn't necessarily mean something's broken. I really enjoy innovation, looking forward, finding new ways to do things. And so things like the Education and Career Forum for me was I see a problem, which then becomes an opportunity, and then how do we change that into something that helps improve and move things forward.
Right, as educators, we're all about opportunities for everybody.
Absolutely.
So how did you get started?
With this or my career trajectory?
Your career.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Morton, Illinois, pumpkin capital of the world, so very much a Midwest girl at heart.
Awesome.
I did not grow up on a farm, did not grow up in a farm family, did live in a rural community. My parents took me to a dude ranch when I was 5 or 6 years old. Totally fell in love with horses, bit by the bug, although my mom years ago found a drawing that I did, the first drawing I ever did, and it was of a horse.
Oh,
so it looked like I think I just came out with the horse bug. I went to the University of Illinois and studied animal science. Did not think there was anything I could do in the equine industry because at that time all you really knew was a veterinarian, etc. But a really important person in my life who's still a dear mentor, Dr. Lori Lawrence, who at that time was a professor at University of Illinois. She taught a class. It was an introduction to animal science, and she talked about horses, and I went, oh my gosh, I can actually do these things, which is a lot of what I do now, right? I try to hopefully give that same message. Switched my major and just kind of took off from there.
I love that. And so let's dig into that a little bit more. So if you had to give one piece of advice to your attendees at the Midwest Horse Fair participating in your event, what would you give them to get involved in the industry as you did?
Sure. If you have a horse bug, there's always a way to connect that with something in terms of a career. But it can also be gig work, part-time, full-time, and it can also be things that you just carry with you as you move along. A big thing that I'm always hopeful for when we look at the industry, and it's a huge industry, $177 billion industry in the United States, that's really big, is that you never have to give up your horse interest or your horse enthusiasm. So a lot of times we see people under 18 that are really engaged, we've got these formal programs, 4-H, FFA, Pony Club, all these great things. And then they're sort of well, what's after that if they don't either know how to study or pursue or they don't? And then we see people coming back in that 45 plus age range. So there's all that time in between, right? So I would say never forget, never think that there's not opportunities there. There always are. And it's just about knowing who to be connecting with people. I was going to say knowing who to connect with, but there's so many people that you can connect with. So you have to be kind of put yourself out there, ask questions, network, which we know is a big part of it. Anyway.
Yeah, the Midwest Horse Fair is a great way to connect and meet people from all over the place.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why you're here at the Midwest Horse Fair is you really align to the goals of Midwest, which is education. Yeah. And so part of your tell us a little bit about the career exploration event that you're putting on.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we are here doing this. And I have to tell you that the enthusiasm and the commitment that the Midwest Horse Fair, that Terry and the board and everybody has put behind it, it just gives me goosebumps, like, to think about it, because it is just so important. It is the future. So the goal is that we're here at this amazing event, beautiful venue, just really delightful venue, so much going on. And I think of it as a push-in event. So we utilize the people that are already here and then the people that are coming in to say, all of this is the industry, that when you are here, particularly the support positions, which oftentimes we don't recognize, that we utilize the people that are already here as sort of a value-added event. While you're coming and doing everything else, let us help you understand how big the industry is, the economic impact, all the career opportunities, the education tracks, different ways you can get educated, because there's college programs, there's certification programs, there's formal, there's so many things that you can do. And it's just so wonderful to see people suddenly go, oh, wow, I hadn't realized, it hadn't occurred to me. So this kind of venue is perfect for that. And then, of course, you've got the FFA, you've got the Forge. I mean, that tax sale was crazy, right? And those I'm such a huge believer in FFA. So anyway, I could go on and on, but it's just a perfect fit.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Karin, you talked a little bit about how you were part of academia for a few years, and now you've made your transition into this change agent. Tell us a little bit about why you maybe made that transition. Sure. And what the best part about your new job is.
Yeah, so it's funny because I have a lot of friends and colleagues that say, I thought you retired, Karin. Didn't you retire? And I'm like, well, I retired from working with others, and now I just get to do these passion projects. So I was a college professor for about 30 years, equine programs. I have my undergraduate, my master's, my PhD, and have done a lot of very diverse things. But one of the things that really always felt like my why was that connection and helping piece, and helping people find that think that they don't have an opportunity or don't know where to go, to see that connection and help is really good. I could tell all kinds of stories, but we don't have enough time. When I had a life event, I won't go into more details, but I had a life event where I was in a hospital and said, yeah, let's think about things a little bit. Yep. What is really most important? What do you if you just had X amount of time? So family, right? Definitely. So kind of got off the academic trail and said, let's, I've done a lot of years now, family, and then give back, right? How do I'm actually going to go a little more here.
Yes, right? No, you're preaching right now.
This is my why, right?
Yes.
It is, I firmly believe it's our responsibility to look forward and give back.
Absolutely.
So this is the give back. And fortunately, I have this amazing life partner who believes in this too, who has a long education trajectory and career, gets it, understands it, and
so important.
It's so important. We just got to help people. So this is the way I can help people.
Isn't it crazy when you have those moments that really make you just sit back and think and reevaluate?
I know. Yeah, and sometimes that tap on your shoulder doesn't come multiple times.
Right.
I kind of thought, maybe I really need to listen this time. I really need to listen. Yeah.
Wow. So if you want to just go ahead and talk about who your mentor is and how that has shaped who you are.
Sure, yeah. Well, certainly my dominant mentor has, from a career trajectory, is Dr. Lori Lawrence, who I'm still very close to. She really provided the opportunity. Horses changed my life. That's definitely a huge part of what I talk about. Often when I do presentations, I say, I didn't know until much, much, much later in life that my parents were like, what will we do with Karin? What will we do with Karin?
I love that.
What
questioning.
will we do with Karin? And then I found horses.
Yep.
And it just changed everything.
Made sense.
So horses, and then the people that are very much a natural behavior kind of, not natural, I mean natural in the sense of understanding the natural behavior and instincts of horses. So I have lots of mentors, certainly my parents, my family. I mean, they're like, they solve it all. They took me to that dude ranch. My mom went on, whether it was raining, anything, I can remember my dad coming and taking pictures of me riding, and he was terrified, but then he'd be like, oh, could you do that again? So they never said no. They said, what are you going to do with that and all that? But they never said no. So that's kind of support structure. And then, there's any number of really amazing other people who've just made things possible.
All right.
I really just find myself listening to you. You're so great.
I actually want to just back up a second because I said made things possible, and I'm really conscious of this thing we have in the horse industry about you have to know people, you have to have this, you have to have this. The connections that I made were made because I was a really hard worker, and I was very much a sponge. I was not a smarty pants, a smart kid, anything like that, nor did I come from this background. But boy, did I want to work, and did I want to learn, and did I want to ask questions and just soak everything in. And so that opens up so many opportunities. I have a problem with saying no.
Yep, absolutely. So where do you go for information? How are you still learning?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, besides talking to your mentors and things like that, do you listen to podcasts? Do you read books? Where are you still being a sponge?
Yeah. So I am part of a group called Extension Horses. So that is a fantastic place for science-based information, and it's a group of equine educators and extension agents throughout the United States that get together and create content and pull together content to educate the horse industry using scientific information. So it's extensionhorses.com, really a wonderful, again, based out of the land-grant universities. So that is where if I've got like a question, I had somebody who reached out to me the other day that had unfortunately an EHV1 outbreak at their barn and was looking for information. I said, well, the place you need to go is this because it's a science. And then I'm part of any number of other groups, and I'm very much a scientific track person for that. I think that's really important. There's a lot of good soft information out there which can complement that, but I'm a big believer.
Show me the science.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that Extension Horses is really good. And the vast majority of the content on there is perfectly free.
Oh, that's
I know.
I can't wait to check it out.
We'll have to link that too.
Yes, absolutely. We can link it, and when we get off of here, I'm going to make sure I like it myself.
So if our listeners wanted to get in contact with you or wanted to kind of follow you as you continue to go on and educate others, how would they find you or get in contact with you?
So, fortunately, I have this very unique last name, Bump. B-U-M-P, just like the stop sign. It's not, you use these low stop signs, but there are also these bump stop signs. And I kept that because there's really not that many Dr. Bumps.
Absolutely.
So if you just Google, Dr. Bump in horses or equine, I'm likely to come up in the early sections of that. So that's one really easy way. You can also remember you bumped into Dr. Bump.
There we go.
So my hashtag is on the road with Dr. Bump.
We love the alliteration.
I know.
This is awesome.
Years ago, when I was taking students on one of many field trips, was like, Dr. Bump, you really ought to have a hashtag. And I was like, oh, maybe I do.
Yes.
But then as far as this kind of content, we've just really started to build a Facebook presence on the Equine Education and Career Network. So it's very new, but that is a place where we're going to start really building with career sheets and information sheets, et cetera. And then the very last thing is I am in upstate New York transplant, and so have a website called Saddle Up New York.
Perfect.
And there's a whole bunch of free educational resources on there that are not New York specific, but that kind of is a landing page because that's a business that we have to help grow the New York horse industry.
Awesome.
Oh, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today
and
sharing all of your advice. It's been amazing. I'm ready to change careers.
Yes, this is awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
I always tell people it's overwhelming to think, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? But I always say, what's the next step?
Absolutely.
For growth, for personal development, for all those things. So thank you very much for doing this and inviting me.
Yes, no, thank you for being here at the Midwest Horse Fair.
You bet.
The Midwest Horse Fair is proudly presented by the Wisconsin State Horse Council Incorporated for over 40 years. Net proceeds from the fair are used by the Wisconsin State Horse Council to promote the equine industry through leadership, education, service, and communication, as well as taking a proactive role in the future growth and development of the equine industry. Thanks again for listening to the Midwest Horse Fair Outside the Arena podcast, where we share stories from expert horse clinicians and entertainers. We hope that you enjoyed this episode and continue to tune in every month and learn about the lives and hear valuable advice from the folks we are proud to have join us at the fair. Learn more about the Midwest Horse Fair at MidwestHorseFair.com.
It's not a horse show, it's a horse fair, and you gotta be there. It's the great Midwest Horse Fair.